time for the next episode of the SoulFinder. Kathy D. Carter, kathydcarter.com is where you want to go for all that information. And this is Frito. Kathy's here. And Kathy, I want to bring up something that you talked about, you alluded to in actually the first episode we recorded today.
Okay.
And as we've said, we record multiple episodes at once.
Right.
And in our first episode, just kind of as a side note, you basically said, the way I wrote it down at least, was empaths. Mm-hmm. Tell us what an empath is, first of all. Reset that.
So an empath is someone that is born an empath. And it is a quality that they have to be able to sense and read other people. All empaths are different, and we now have a new label, which is highly sensitive person, HSP. It's just another form of an empath. And these are people that pick up on the energy of other people. They can tell when someone's upset or when someone's sick, or they can tell when someone's angry without that person actually displaying that emotion. And empaths have lots of unique characteristics that, not knowing you're an empath, you learn to use that gift to your disadvantage.
In the first episode we recorded, you pointed out that many empaths, I wrote the word pushover.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Or pushovers.
Yes.
And why is that?
It's because most empaths as children were told, you're too sensitive, toughen up, don't cry, you're too emotional. And by them being empaths, all children nearly in our society today, because the parents are not at a higher vibrational frequency, they still haven't healed their own stored emotion is what I'm referring to. So these parents do not know how to properly support children, and especially an empath, because an empath child will be totally different than maybe the other children they had. So that's why they say, oh, you're too sensitive. Oh, don't be so sensitive. And I mean, an empath child may even, once they realize that their hamburger they're eating came from the cow that they saw out in the field, they become very upset. And it's like, no, I don't want to eat this anymore. All empaths are different. That I cannot stress that enough. So to say all empaths do something, that's not a true statement. But generally, empaths are very, very sensitive, and they learn to use their gift to keep peace. They learn to use their gift to keep peace in the family. So if they know that mom's doing something that's going to aggravate dad, then they will try to intercede and stop that so it doesn't go there. And they will be very sympathetic to another empath and try to help them if they see one in pain. The problem is they become people pleasers, they become rescuers to everyone else, and they lose who they are because they're using their gift to their disadvantage. Does that make sense?
Makes a ton of sense.
Okay.
And I can relate to a lot of what you said. I don't think I'm a pushover, but...
Well, you learn not to be.
But I definitely want to please people, and I definitely want to help.
Mm-hmm.
But you can do that without being a pushover.
Yes. Yes, and without conceding who you are. Mm-hmm. See, what happens with most empaths as they grow up, they learn, actually the gift helps them survive all their circumstances they have to get through. I call that the victim survivor part of your life. Mm-hmm. But they've learned to use their gift to the disadvantage, and they're not taught to heal, so they never learn that they're an empath. They never learn how to use it to their advantage. So they become the person that is easy prey for a manipulator, because the manipulator can sense, oh, this person agrees to everything. I can get them to do whatever I want. So they take charge of that person, And that person loses even more of who they are. They won't say, "Oh, I want to go to this restaurant." They'll say, wherever you want to go is fine. I'm that way too.
Well, but I think I'm that way because I just don't care.
Well, but part of why you don't care is because you don't want to upset everybody. You want them to be happy.
Okay, let me ask you this. Because what I'll say to that question, and I want to go deeper.
Yes.
I want to use that question to go deeper into
Okay.
it. My answer is anywhere you want, anything but Chinese.
See? So you do say what you want.
I say what I don't want. I'll make it clear.
Well,
But I'm not picky. I mean, we can go wherever you want, but I don't want Chinese.
okay. So, and that would be, you're still holding your power.
Okay.
What I'm talking about is an empath that really is craving Chinese that night and won't say a word about it.
Gotcha.
You see the difference?
Yeah.
And that's huge because when you continually do that, you lose sight of who you are. Because there's many, many, many empaths that don't even know they're empaths, but they can relate to the different characteristics when I name them. Because another huge characteristic of an empath is when the teacher or anyone comes to them and says, "Oh, honey, you're not crossing your T's right. You need to make this line across your T this way." To an empath, that is like they killed somebody. They just murdered someone and they feel responsible. They cannot take criticism easily because they feel like what they're being told to do different is just like, oh my God, it's the end of the world. And it hurts them. And it's real. And if they don't understand that they're an empath and that's why they feel that way, it can be very detrimental down the road.
So how do they keep that from happening?
The only way that we're going to keep that from happening is for empaths to be totally understood by society. And that is such a tall order because I cannot teach someone what it is to be an empath. If you're not an empath, you have no clue. You have no clue whatsoever what that's like. It's just like saying, "Oh, this is strep throat," when you've never, ever had strep throat. You don't know until you've experienced it what an empath is. So it's only through compassion and the attempt to understand and try to accept that there are people different than you or that have gifts that are different than you that you can explain it. Because it's not like saying, "Oh, you've got the gift of being a medium. You can talk to spirits," because you can prove that. An empath has a very hard time proving that they're an empath to other people.
Does an empath feel the need to prove it?
No, not
That's
at
another
all.
thing, right?
No. An empath, even though they can be an extroverted person, they will stay very introverted with their empath qualities. Very much so.
Gosh, I think you've nailed me.
I know.
Which is pretty impressive because I think I'm kind of hard. I'm kind of like Jell-O. I think I'm hard to nail. But once again, like I say a lot, it's impressive because I was a skeptic. And it's been a while since I've really been a skeptic now. But the things that you say and the more that I listen, and I'm sure it's the same way with your clients, it makes sense.
The empath is something that we really need to understand better. And I complain about labels and stuff, but at least with this new label of the highly sensitive person, it is being, for whatever reason, that they're understanding that. And they're taking that and running with it. So that's going to help.
Which is strange because I know that you're using the word and that they're using the word sensitive differently than I'm going to be using it. No one that knows me would ever accuse me of being sensitive.
I know. And see, that's just it. For whatever reason, some people grasp onto the highly sensitive person and they can take that. But if you talk about an empath, sometimes a lot of people misunderstand the difference of being empathetic and being an empath. Those are totally different worlds.
Yeah.
And people don't understand that. They just run those two together. But since it's been labeled highly sensitive person, and I believe that what I have read so far on the description of the highly sensitive person, that's just another form of an empath.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. I love talking about me and thinking about me.
Mm-hmm. Well, most people do.
And my ego.
And it's so important because empaths, like I said, they're the target of people that want to manipulate and control people. And unfortunately, they're easy food for the narcissist. So a lot of times you'll have an empath in a relationship with a narcissist and it can totally destroy them because they don't even know what's happening to them, and they're so easygoing that they begin to think they're crazy and it's their fault and that they did something wrong, because that's what the narcissist also implies to them. Yeah. And it is very hard for the empath to recover who has been in a relationship like that. And I know because I was in one myself, and it's very hard to start remembering that and getting your power back, because you give up all your power when you're an empath. Because by saying, I don't care, it doesn't matter to me, it's okay, whatever you all decide, you're losing your ability of what makes you happy. So if you ever get free and you decide to be an individual, you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
You have to rediscover what you like, what you want.
All right, the website, kathydcarter.com. We've recorded 4 episodes today.
Is it 4?
A couple of them were a little longer than usual. But I would suggest there's a reason we went long. And so take the time, and even if you have to listen to them in 3 or 4 sessions, whatever, go ahead and do that, because I think, hey, we wouldn't talk about it if it wasn't worthy. All right. Thank you so much, Kathy.
Thank you, Mark.